Recording in progress. Hello, everyone, and welcome to School of Speech presented by Speech Therapy PD. I am Carolyn Dolby, and I am your host. I am so glad you're here today, and you will be too, because today we have a returning guest, Angelyn Franks, and I could not be any more excited that she is joining School of Speech again for part 2 of Burnout. But today's focus is shedding the should, uncovering core values that truly fit you. All right, just to give you a little background on Angelyn, she is a speech language pathologist, researcher, and a burnout coach who has experienced burnout firsthand. I'm wondering how many of us here have as well. She spent the first decade of her career exploring multiple roles and settings, searching for the right job. After realizing that no single role could solve burnout all on its own, she discovered the key to a sustainable, fulfilling career, and it was by aligning her work with her core values. But Dr. Franks, her approach goes beyond surface level and really challenges the toxic hustle culture that equates worth with our overwork. I think some of us kind of do that. We only think we're good enough if we're doing everything. But everything she does is rooted in research, and her methods focus on values alignment. She does stress regulation, I need that, and really authentic self-care. So you know what? She's also a wife and a mom. We were talking about that earlier. And she is a professor who has navigated challenges firsthand. So we are so excited. Thank you for being with us, Angelyn. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me back. I'm very excited. This is my favorite thing to talk about.
I love this. All right, so I do have to everybody that's listening live, and those that are going to be listening later, everyone get comfy. We're going to get ready for part 2. I do want to remind everyone that School of Speech is offered for 0.1 ASHA CEUs, and if your state license requires live CEUs and you're hanging with us today, well, first of all, thanks for hanging with us. But I also want to make sure you get your credit. So after the podcast today, I do need you to go back onto your Speech Therapy PD account and finish and complete all the course modules, including the one that says complete course, before the end of today. Okay. We also really, really love your comments and questions. Please use the chat. I missed something last week. Someone put something in the questions. Please do just the chat box. That's the one I'm moderating and checking. So please use the chat. And if you are listening to us live, jump on, let us know you're here and where you're listening from. I love seeing where everybody comes from. I love it. All right. So while you guys are jumping in, those listening live, jump in the chat and tell me where you're from. I'm going to give a little disclosures. Angelyn is a full-time salaried employee at Essentra Health, and she's the owner of Angelyn Franks SLP LLC. And I'm going to give you some more information on how you can get to her website in a minute. Non-financial, she's a member of ASHA, and she's also the vice president of SLPs for Arkansas Speech Language and Hearing Association. She's a big deal, people, a big deal. Oh, look at how many people are here. We have got
I
a huge
know.
audience.
There's
I love
60
this.
people.
I love it. Disclosures for me, I am a salaried employee for Portland Public Schools here in Oregon, and I do receive compensation from Speech Therapy PD for hosting School of Speech, my dream job. Non-financial, I am also an ASHA member, and I also consult for school districts, helping them set up their dysphagia programs and staff training. Enough about me. I can't wait to get in with my friend, Angelyn.
I'm
I love it.
excited.
All right. So this is part 2. So y'all, we had part 1, which was the back to school burnout. And that was back October. It is October. It was August 13th. And so that was kind of the beginning of our season 3. We're in season 3 now, which is amazing. So we do want everyone to go back and listen to part 1, but maybe we'll do a highlights reel. and kind of get people up to speed. But I want to say hi to everybody, and I love this. Sarah is from New Jersey, and she's giving a shout out to those in New Jersey that your license is due at the end of this month. So
Look
thanks for
at all
joining
of
us, New
these people
Jersey.
from New Jersey. They
Thanks,
must need live
Jersey.
CEUs.
Jersey's in the house. I love it. All right, so let's do highlights reel.
Okay, absolutely. So what we talked about last time and what is helpful to know is that burnout is not just from working too much. It's not from having too many kids on your caseload or not getting paid enough. Those things can contribute to burnout, but I really thought, hold on, I'm going to close this because my
Yeah.
ADHD cannot.
I hear you. I know. I
I
get
want
it.
to keep watching. So it is not just from having too many kids on your caseload or from having teachers that maybe don't understand what you do. Like that, those are things that can contribute to burnout. And so the research tells us that there are 6 contributing factors to burnout. And so that looks like workload. So having too much, if you don't have enough control over your day-to-day job, there's no autonomy in your work, that can play a role in burnout. I think somebody last time said that they had lunch at like 9 o'clock in the morning
Yes.
in the chat. Remember
Yes.
that? Like that's
Yes.
a huge
Right. That's,
lack of control. Like
and it
nobody
was
wants to have
dictated to them.
lunch at that time.
Yeah, like that's when
Yes.
they were
Oh
told that
yeah.
but it wasn't, she did, I want to go back. She
Yeah.
didn't plan her lunch at 9. She was
Correct.
told, and that was not that. So that's number 2, not having autonomy of your own
Yeah, your own
schedule.
time. You're having to
Yeah.
have lunch at that silly hour, or um reward is another one. So maybe you might not feel like you're getting paid enough, or even just feeling seen at work,
Mhm.
being acknowledged for what you're doing. Community can play a factor if there's a mismatch between um wanting kind coworkers and then
Mhm.
also maybe having not kind things like
Mhm.
that factor. Fairness, so if there's any type of inconsistencies or inequity between people,
Mhm.
if people are treated differently. And then the last one is values. And so that would be what's important to you and what's important to your employer don't match. That could be a way that there's a values mismatch. And another way that we see values mismatches in the workplace is when people or workplaces say they have certain values, like maybe your company or your school has certain core values that they have painted on the wall. But if they are not following those values, like if they have a value of fairness, and that's what they say that they do, but then there are things that are unfair at work. So there are different values mismatches. But for me, as a speech pathologist who experienced burnout so many times, I was looking at mostly caseload, workload, and pay were the things that I
Mhm.
was really thinking contributed to my burnout. So when I was going to the next job, when I was looking for something that wouldn't burn me out, I was looking for those things. But then when I learned this framework, and this is Christina Masloch is the researcher, this is her framework of burnout. When I learned this and I kind of took a step back and looked at all my roles, I wrote down that there was a values misalignment in every single one, which led me to then realize, like, I don't even know what my values are. You can feel a values misalignment, and I don't know if anybody can feel that. Maybe you feel like something's off at work or something isn't lining up or something
Oh
doesn't feel
yeah.
right, and but you don't have a name for it. And it may be that you don't have a name for your values, but there may be times where your values are being like impeded or stepped up on, or you're being expected to act outside of alignment with your values because of the workplace. And I just realized, gosh, I don't even know what my values are. I was joking with you before, but I really
Yeah.
thought my values were just not making people mad. Like I just wanted everybody to be happy. I didn't want to make anybody upset, and I wanted to keep the peace
Right.
and do a good job. And I wanted people to think that I was a good SLP. That was another one. And so, yeah, does that,
Yeah. So I went ahead and put in the chat those 6 factors
Mhm.
that contribute to the burnout, which was the workload,
Mhm.
lack of control. That's a big one I don't like. The rewards or lack of rewards, money wise, could possibly be that.
Mhm.
Community, I did slash coworker slash environment. That one was a big one, actually, for me, which helped me make this move from Texas to Oregon,
Yeah.
actually. And at first, I thought there was some. I love the fact that at first I thought it was negative because I had some issues with the environment of my work environment in Texas.
Mhm.
And I took it as a personal fail until I realized it was really what I needed to have kind of pushed me that, yeah, I need to make this move. And then I am so blessed and so happy. So sometimes something that seems negative is actually leading you somewhere positive, and that's exactly what it did. And then I said number 5 was fairness and in equity, that's a big one. If people are treated differently,
Yep.
that's an ick. That doesn't feel good. And then of course our values, which it gets us right to where we want to be today. Because when last time when we were talking, and I like my surface thought it was so true what I thought my values were. You're like, no, you've got to
Yeah.
go deeper. Because remember,
Yeah.
I was at my thought at first was, oh, what's really important to me, I think at the time, because I think it was something going on with me at that moment. Oh, hi, Stephen. Hold on. Let me give him a little treat. I got my little
Yeah.
coworkers being a little, um, hi.
He really values connection, I
He
think.
does. He does. He's a big
And
connector.
treats.
And treats. But like it was about like I really value time, like
Mhm.
people respecting my time.
Oh, that's what it was. I remember
Remember,
that.
remember
Yep.
that, and you're like, and I'm like, and now, yeah. So things are become more clear, and I want this to be more clear for people here too, on really understanding. Um, I think the focus. What I love about the focus on today is like
Mhm.
the shouldy values. And when
Yeah.
we joked about it, we're not swearing.
Yeah, guys, no.
Shouldy
I'll tell
values.
you if I'm gonna swear, I'll tell you.
We'll give you a heads up. Here it comes. Yeah, so I kind of want to talk about aligning how important it is to align your authentic priorities and really, how do we know if it's not? How do we know if it's an external expectation that we're
Yeah.
thinking is our priority and it's really not ours? That might be is
So
that a big ask right out of the
that's it.
bat?
No, that's a big
Oh, okay.
question. The best way, and this is kind of the end at the beginning, but
Okay.
what I find, and it's okay, the
Okay.
best way to figure it out once you start to go through everything is the things that truly are your core values are the things that you lean into when things get really hard. So if you think about a situation that's like a tough situation at work,
You
if
froze for a
you,
second. Sorry.
oh,
Or maybe I
that's okay.
froze.
I don't know. Are we better?
Yeah, we're better
Can
now, I
anyone hear?
think. Anybody out there
My
in
phone
our
rang,
live
so maybe
audience?
that.
Are we good? Okay.
Okay. Okay. So it's if you think about the things, is this something I lean into when things are hard? That's a question that you
Ah.
can ask yourself. Because if you think about respect, like, do you lean into other people respecting you
Mhm.
when things feel really hard? You can't really answer it that way,
No,
right?
you can. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that is one of the quick ways to get underneath kind of what is coming up. And I want to say that a lot of the things that we think we value come from so many logical places, right? They come from our family of origin a lot. They
Mhm.
come from graduate school. They come from the people in your life. They come from society. Um, and it's not necessarily that if there's something that you value, or if there's something that's not a core value to you, it doesn't mean that it's not important. It doesn't mean that it's not, um,
It could be a secondary,
yeah,
right?
yep,
It's not your core value, but it's like a
yes,
contributing factor. Yeah.
yes. I say this a lot, but in my family growing up, honesty was like a very big value. I think it's very important to me to be honest
Hmm.
and have integrity. Well, actually, so it's very important to me to be honest. And then, but truly, integrity is a deeper value for me. And that it's not always just being honest, it's like doing what I say I'm going to do, and other people saying and doing what they say that they're going to do. So to me, that is like a similar like it's almost like a little
Hmm.
values family, like, but it's a
Yeah.
little bit deeper. And so you kind of have to think about what's underneath some of the things. Because underneath respect for you, there's probably something else. And I'm not
Hmm.
going to put words in your mouth
Yeah.
or,
Yeah.
but you know,
Well, here's another one I was thinking about me is I don't I don't ask for help because I'm a helper. Like I'm like if I see like I want to help before somebody even has to ask for it. And if
mm-hmm,
somebody asks me for something, I come from a place of yes.
mm-hmm,
And I think I get so hurt when people aren't like that back to me that
yeah,
I don't even ask. And it's almost like and it's not good. I don't know if
yeah,
that's right.
right. So,
Like I'm scared to ask because I don't want to hear the no, maybe.
yeah, yeah. And so that I think, okay, let me break down for a
Yeah.
second. Because I'm like, because I think that with that too, hold
But
on.
I am definitely like if someone asks, I immediately want to jump in because I want them to feel heard. Oh, maybe that's my value.
I think it's
Maybe.
probably connection if I had to
Connect,
guess,
yeah.
like deep underneath it, right? Because,
Yes.
and you don't want, like, you fear that disconnection. If someone were to say no, that would feel like disconnection
Yes.
for you.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
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 And so that's the thing, though, when you can identify that, and this is another part of just like nervous system regulation, stress management, once you have that, once you have the words, instead of just feeling this like fight or flight in your body of
Hmm.
like, I'm so frustrated that I don't have, that um, that this thing is happening, and it just like my brain just goes into like emergency mode. Instead of that, you can say, oh, this is disconnection, and that's why I feel triggered. Like that feels
Hmm.
triggering. And like, how can I foster some sense of connection, whether it's with myself, like if I just need to feel connected to myself and acknowledge like, oh, this feels, I didn't, that I felt this connection, but then that's connecting to yourself, so that's great. Or like maybe that person that said no, like if you can think, okay, well, that wasn't necessarily just connection, or how can I still connect with this person, like you get the control back of the situation, and it doesn't feel like this like blank, like uh black cloud over you
Yes.
of
This
just disconnection or
or
misalignment,
what I love
unworthiness.
unworthiness. That's a big one on mine that I don't feel worthy.
Hmm.
But what I love, oh,
Here,
I
I'll put
did.
them in.
You know what I did? I did it again, KK. Thanks for letting me know. I did put it in the chat, but I did it. I do that
Oh,
sometimes. Yeah, I can, are you gonna throw them in there? Or do you want me to, let me see
oh
if I can
yes,
just
except
copy
for
them.
I did the same
You
thing
did
as
the
you. I
same.
didn't put them
Okay.
in
Oh, here we go.
everyone.
You know what?
I got it.
Here we go. One more time. The third's the charm, y'all. Oh, we both did
Then
it.
we
All
both
right.
did it. Yeah.
I love it.
We got you guys.
You know what? Yeah, we got it. Yeah. Um, I've just lost my train of thought, but oh, it was a huge compliment to you because you know what I love
Oh,
is
thanks.
when yeah, already just thank you. The way that you and I have been talking about core values, what I love is when you get me to think and go deeper, it's always to this positive. You know, it's
Yeah.
like you find, so it's, and I love that because I come from a place of joy. Like I am a joyful person, just like I wake up happy. And I love that. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I can be miserable, but I choose joy most of the time.
Yeah.
And like I really do. Like it's just that's my reset is joyful. Um, and
Well, and I think, oh, sorry, no,
no, I
go.
was just gonna say, I love the fact that you bring everything back to positive and joy. And so I'm just saying, I love that so much.
Well, and I also think to me, I actually don't even intend to do that sometimes. I think what I tend to do is just like ground things. This is what my therapist calls it. It's
Mhm.
a lot of therapy to get there, so I did the work for you guys. But like when I ground myself in reality of just like, even if it's terrible. And it's funny, I just wrote an email to send to my list tomorrow about this, but it is sometimes just telling yourself like this feels stressful or this feels misaligned.
Hmm.
Like that is not, like, some people might look at that and say that's actually not positive, but it's reality. And when reality matches what's actually happening, or when your brain matches what's happening and it sees it, it helps you to not panic because you're not trying to live in this like false reality. And
Yeah,
so for me, that is so
regulating.
helpful. Yes.
So I think, yeah, just your whole approach, maybe that's what it is. It because it is grounding and um it takes that fear or whatever it is that I'm doing, it helps me regulate. I don't know, and it helps me stay
It
joyful.
Yeah. And then when you do that, you have access to your frontal lobe and you have access to joy. Like you have access to those places. Um, and that I think is the important part. Like, and instead of going, getting triggered or going to the place of um like fight or flight or stress, like
Hmm.
you can stay regulated. And then when you and I that to me, I don't know if I told you this story last time. Did I tell you the story about when I realized that my mom asking me about um what I was doing when I go home? So I grew up in Boston and um now live in Arkansas. So I go home, and when I go home, my mom always asks me like, "What are you doing?" She has all these questions. And for so long, it really stressed me out, and it would like cause me to go into this fight or flight, amygdala hijack. Like, why is she asking me this? She's trying to control every minute of me being there. And
Mm.
when I realized that one of the things that I value, the word I like use for it, and I don't know, they're always evolving, but I always say
Mhm.
like spaciousness is something I value. Like, I don't like to be rushed. I don't like to feel overwhelmed. Um, and when I realized that that was what the misalignment was with my mom, I was like, oh, that's what it is. And so I just told her, and she said, oh, okay. And I didn't even tell her that was a misalignment. I just said, hey, try to meet somewhere in the middle. Hey, can we plan 3 things for the week or the couple days I'm gonna be home? And then the rest, I need some downtime that we can fill. I just can't think about it. Like, and sometimes I'll say, because I really value not feeling rushed.
Mhm.
Um, and she was like, oh yeah. And it was the best trip I ever had home. And I was like, oh, it's weird when you just put names to things sometimes, how empowering that can be and how calming and grounding that can be.
So let me make sure I have the gist. So are you saying that like because your mom wanted everything planned out and have
Yeah, and
you
she
come
probably values
a plan?
control or a plan,
Yes.
and yeah, that's
Right.
what
So
she
that was
values.
yeah. And so that but what I like what I'm hearing is that when you said to your mom, yes, we can plan some, but I need some
Hmm.
downtime. And
Yeah.
yeah.
And you don't even really have to say, this is because this is what my core values are. But I can think of so many instances where in a school, um, in an IEP meeting, in what, like, there's a time where what you value and what the other person values just don't match, but that
Oh,
doesn't make
yeah.
it wrong. It doesn't mean it doesn't mean that it's a problem. It just means that that if you can acknowledge it, you know why you're feeling triggered, you know what's triggering them, and it doesn't even mean you have to meet in the middle, but just naming it in your own brain can be so helpful.
I think, right, being aware. That's one of the,
Mm-hmm.
right? Yeah, just
Yeah.
the awareness of it, I think is liberating. To know what your triggers are. And being aware why something is, yeah,
Yeah.
misaligned. Yeah, and right,
Mm-hmm.
the other person's not wrong. They're just wanting their core values too.
Yes.
Yeah,
And then
so.
another instance where this is helpful, and then if you want, we can talk more about like what could might be shouldy values or what. But
Yeah.
another instance where it's really helpful is I do this all the time when I'm scrolling through social media and something, you just sometimes end up feeling very triggered by something that somebody's doing. And
Mhm.
sometimes it's like that big trigger that you're like, uh, why does this feel like such a big deal? Like, why does this feel so stressful to me? This is other person's life on social media. Like,
Mhm.
and I think more, okay, sorry, my dog is just
Mhm.
itching.
Oh.
Um, and so a lot of times I can say to myself, like, why does this feel so triggering? And one of my core values is connection. And so that's probably why that was an easy example to walk me through for you. And oftentimes it's that maybe they are like saying something that might be upsetting to somebody else. Like that to me, I'm like, oh, they're just
Oh.
causing all this
Hmm.
disconnection.
Gotcha. Yeah.
They're not really thinking about everybody else's feelings. And I'm not saying that we always have to, but what they're saying maybe feels some way to me, like I'm perceiving it a certain way that might not even be how they mean it, but that's why it feels so triggering. And instead of thinking, oh my gosh, that person is so frustrating, or I'm so mad, or I'm so annoyed, or whatever, I'm just like, I'm going to keep scrolling because this is my core value. It doesn't
Hmm.
belong to them. Like, and I have no idea if that is what they meant or isn't what they meant, but
Hmm.
I know that that's probably what triggered me.
I love it. I mean, it just gets you to stop, reset. So I like when you said get you back into your frontal lobe. Absolutely right.
Yeah.
Because that fight, fright, stress, or the freeze, I guess, is that third
Mm-hmm.
one, right? And we
Yeah.
got it, and
Yeah.
we got to get ourselves out of that. Let's
I
get
mean,
into,
yeah. And fawn is the other one, which is that people pleasing of like,
oh, fun.
I don't want them to feel upset. So I'm going to do everything. I'm going to, like, that is probably part of that thing where you want
Ah,
to do something for people so that they don't feel upset. Like you're fawning
I I
sometimes. Like,
love
and
that.
it's,
So so
yeah.
we got fight, we got
Here, I'll put them in the chat.
yeah, put them in the chat because I think that and you did talk part one, you did talk about fawning. So I had forgotten about that one. So thank you for that. Yes.
Mhm.
Because it's true. Sometimes we over
Yeah.
fawn. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a
Okay.
stress response.
Interesting. It's just so amazing. Well, let's talk about shouldy.
Okay.
Yeah, let's get into
Yeah.
shoulds.
So another thing to think about too is in when you're in those stress states, right? You're have all the stress hormones. I do this too. I do it less now that I think and talk about this all the time, but I think we all still go there often. In that, like, really, if you think about all the times that you're saying, well, I should do this because of this, like, or I should do this, like, truly, if you're saying, when I hear myself saying I should be doing this, I have learned to stop and ask myself why. Like, why should I be doing that? If I should be doing something because it is in alignment and it feels good to me, then, keep going. But sometimes we should be doing something because of some obligation that we feel towards someone else's feelings, something
Mhm.
that we just have like deeply ingrained in us. Like we should be um the one that does this thing at work because if we don't do it, nobody else is going to do it. Like
Ah,
is such a common thing.
that is a huge one. Who will do it if I don't do it?
Right. And you know
Yeah.
what? I,
Ah.
maybe it doesn't need to be done, or maybe it does need to be. A lot of times I think we're doing it because we think that things should be done. But
Mm.
sometimes you have things that maybe don't need to be done. I was talking to somebody recently and they were saying like that they get up every morning. They like clean their whole kitchen every morning. And I asked like why? Like what? I mean, if that is a stressful thing and you're angry that you're frustrated that your husband's not helping
Hmm.
and you're frustrated that your kids are leaving a mess and all these things, I think you can ask yourself, why do you feel like you should have a clean kitchen all the time? Now, do you want a clean kitchen most of the time because it's helpful? Yes,
Yeah, well, we
but
all do,
all the
but
stress that we
yeah.
like live with, like in that spiral, and I think that can come up at work. I think it can come up. I mean, it comes up everywhere. Just when we're talking to other people. So another way to think about finding your core values, like if you're looking just for the words,
Hmm.
like first you look for the words, then you get rid of the should, the should words, or look at what's underneath the should words. But and I don't know if I shared this last time, but really looking at those things that are triggering you, like looking at what like when you're scrolling, what triggered you, or that conversation with somebody at work, like what frustrated you. And this is when it's okay to think of, you're probably going to have shoulds in this moment, but just observe them and think about what they are. And usually underneath those, or like flip flop, whatever it is, and you can find a value or a pattern underneath those things.
Yeah. So stop and think about should.
Think about what you're saying. I should do this or I should do that, or
Like,
what's going to
why are
happen if
you?
I don't
Yeah.
do this. Yeah. I guess that
So,
was two different points
no, but
too.
if we go back to the one about we're doing it because nobody else is doing it, then
Hmm.
why are you doing it? Like if no, so I guess my thing would be then what would happen if you also didn't do it?
Yeah.
Right? Then I mean, I'm not, yeah,
No,
not
I
if
think
it's,
it's a I think it's a
I
great
mean,
question. I don't think
that's,
there's an answer. It depends on what it is. Sometimes
I
it
mean,
needs to be
clearly.
done.
Right. I mean, like, right, a deadline or, compliance, maybe,
Yeah.
but then we're all in it. But I mean, if it's okay, y'all, if it's safety doesn't take a holiday, do it. Right?
Right. Like
If
you have
something
to stop at the red light.
you
You
have
you
to,
have
it's
to.
yeah, because we have to be safe or whatever. But when it right, because if you always now it's kind of clicking. If you always do it because you think nobody else is going to do it, is that true? Is no one going to do something?
And does it need to be done? And do you think it needs to be done, or does it need to be done, or
Right. So it's either you want it done, so you do it,
Mhm.
or
And to that, I say, why do you want it done? Do you want it done
right.
because it's always been done? And this is like like this is so normal, right? Because we live in our own little echo chambers of things. And again, these things, these values, these things that we feel like we should do come from so many different places. They don't come from us all the time. They come from external things. They come
Hmm.
from, and usually with shoulds also comes guilt, right? If you don't do the thing, guilt or shame. And
Hmm.
so if, I mean, if we're thinking about even just, if they say, okay, we need 3 people to join this committee. And it's
Okay.
that quiet thing, in the
Hmm.
meeting where you all look around and you're like, okay, it's uncomfortable. But if
Hmm.
you are at capacity, if you have no time, and you say you're going to do it because you feel bad and 3 people need to do it, then you're already at capacity. You're kind of you're becoming more disconnected with yourself by doing the thing. Or if somebody really needs, if they really need 3 people, if we're talking about like, I need 3 people to run the I don't know, fire drill tomorrow, and you're like, okay, I mean, I haven't done it yet and everybody's taking turns or whatever. But if you if you are in that moment and you are doing something just because you feel like you should, or you don't want to feel guilty, or you don't want to
Mhm.
upset somebody else, then I think it's helpful to say in that moment, and maybe this is why spaciousness as a value feels good to me, because I'm like, if I give up white space in my calendar, I'm going to start to feel resentful, and I'm going to feel overwhelmed, and I'm going to feel over capacity, like my cup is too full. And then everybody else is going to suffer because I'm going to be grumpy and mean and a B word to everybody. And
Yeah.
it's not their fault that I'm doing this thing. And I'm doing it because I don't want to upset them. But at the same time, I'm probably going to upset them later when I like drop the glass ball that needs to be done.
Mhm.
And so I think it's pausing and just recognizing that maybe that isn't the thing you can do today. But also, if everybody's at capacity and we all keep doing things so we don't upset people, we're all going to be further over capacity and more burnt out if we keep doing it. And
Mhm.
so I think recognizing that there is not necessarily like a hard and fast yes or no, or I'm going to do this, or I'm not going to do it, or I'm going to stop saying yes to things like that. To me, there's really no like black and white rule. And that's why I think identifying your core values is the key to not being burnt out. And it's for a really long time why I was like, I don't know how to help like I don't know how to help people all the time because my what I have as far as my values isn't the same as yours. But if I can help you by saying this is why this is important,
Mhm.
and let's figure out what is meaningful and important to you.
Right. No,
And
your point is right. You're not going to be able to help us with our problems. What you're helping us with is having us stop and really think about what are our core values, which is going to help us regulate ourselves. Because
Mhm.
in part one, what
Yeah,
I liked that you talked about that you just hit on is it's not all about learning to say no. You talked
no,
about like that
yes,
is right. So go back to part one if you haven't seen part one about it's not just saying no and setting your boundaries of no that because that's not helpful for anyone if all of a sudden you're just saying no to everything. Um,
right.
yeah,
And if
yeah.
you think about it, if there's some level of connect, like if connection is a value for you or something like it, and
Yeah.
it's just easy, it's sometimes easy to pick a value and just go with it, even if your thing like connection is a little bit different. I feel like it's still good for illustrating it.
Yeah.
If disconnection is going to happen because of something that if you say, I'm going to say no to everything for the next
Mhm.
month, then it's like, okay, but what if you don't want to say no? What if you want to say yes?
Right.
Then you're disconnecting from what, you know, is meaningful or important to you. And so just, yeah. And so that's why, and it's different for everybody. It's also makes it so much easier to have those interpersonal communications because, I mean, also when you recognize that everybody has their own values, whatever they
Mm-hmm.
are, but we're all kind of walking around, if we're in a school or we came from graduate school or something, we all have sometimes the same like shouldy values, like, but just breaking a little bit away from that and maybe sometimes tolerating some discomfort if you are maybe not going with the status quo of like, I'm just going to say yes to everything. I'm going to be the yes person.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it can be really uncomfortable, but it is also the more you do it, the like stronger that muscle gets. And just because you're not necessarily just doing it to upset people, like, or you're not doing it to upset people, you're doing it to like
To
honor
help
what
yourself.
is important to
Yes.
you. And then, but that's also why it's important if you are thinking that something is what you value, and maybe it's one of those shouldy values.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's it's why like you could end up feeling this misalignment if you're walking around thinking that that's what you value, but maybe there's some things underneath it that are more core to you. So the example that we talked about before this call was, I think, and I hear this all the time, like people say like achievement is a
Mhm.
value that they feel is their core value. And usually I'm like, but is it? Like, do you lean into achievement when you feel stressed? Like, is that what you go to? It might be, and I never want to tell anybody, no, that's not your value, because it
Right.
might be. But I think there's something underneath that for most people.
Yeah. I think when I'm looking at like, right, like when I was thinking about what is important to me is I do like to be of service. I like to
Okay.
feel like I'm a servant leader. That's I really
Mm-hmm.
feel like like customer service is really important to me. Like the but I say customer service as in not a people, not so much people pleasing. I think how I see it is I see what's going on and I read the room. I read the room and
Mm-hmm.
I can be like, okay, I know what is needed in this space for things to move forward.
I think that's connection, Carolyn. Like I
Okay, I've
think
made
that's like
okay.
you being connected to other people.
Okay, so maybe yeah.
I think that underneath
Mm-hmm.
some of that is connection. And there might be something else underneath that.
But no, I can see how connection is definitely, I think that's important. Um, I Yes. Because when I was kind of going through I love, so before we started today, Angelyn had me do some questions and I kind of came up with some things that I was thinking about that's important to me. And definitely being of service was one. Having recognition is one for me. And
Mhm.
when I say it like that, it sounds almost like it's a little, braggadocious or something that I need to, but it's not that. It's not that I need to be recognized that Carolyn's the best. I think what it is that what my service is of value. Recognize that
Mhm.
the services that I provide are high value.
Yes.
Because I think that's what's important to me. Um, and because it really kind of comes back to like the work that um, I do it because I feel that it is really valuable work. I establish and maintain feeding plans of care for our, complex needs kids
Mhm.
in the schools. And
Yeah.
and I take a lot of pride in that. So I think like my recognition is that it's more so that to keep me going that it is of value that I am contributing. So it actually comes back to
Yeah.
me maybe more so that I'm making, I don't know. I don't
So
know.
why do you think, you
Yeah.
tell me if you want, like,
Yeah.
why does that feel important that you show up in that
So
way for the kids and the students and the people who need you?
because I think I personally get a lot out of it, feeling um needed and yeah, I think I get a lot of personal satisfaction that I'm using because I really do feel like I have this unique gift and that
Yes, I agree.
I'm utilizing this gift for the greater good.
Yeah. So it might be, I'm wondering too, like, how does growth feel? Like, I feel like that could be, there's something else under this though. I can't
We're
figure
gonna
out
get
what
to
it
it.
is.
We're gonna get to it,
Well,
but
the other way you can do, the other thing that I like to do sometimes is, and you can just type this into ChatGPT, but
Mhm.
um, you can tell ChatGPT, like, I'm trying to figure out my core values. This is something I think might be of value to me. And you can tell it a little bit about what you do, or if it probably knows. I mean, it probably like knows everything about us
I
anyways.
know.
Um, but then you can ask it, like, what are three beliefs that somebody would have if this is their core value? And
Okay, so
let me
this would be so this is a strategy y'all that are listening can do, right? So you're saying like
Mhm.
first, wait, what, let me, because we're kind of, before we move on. So one of the first strategies is finding the words of what is important
Mhm.
to you.
Yes.
Then, so that's kind of the first strategy is starting with the words of what is important to you. And mine was helping and service and being recognized and stuff like that. But then strip away some of the shoulds. Why, that do you feel like you should do this or why is it important? It is the next
Yep.
thing. Now we got to go deeper and using Chat GPT to, so remind us where we are now. So we've got our word.
Okay. Yep. So if you and we can go through this, I'll use an example that I had. So I thought authenticity was a value for me.
Okay.
And so then I thought, okay, is this something that is, and I got past the shoulds. Like maybe there was even something above that I had a word and then I got to, okay, no, it's authenticity. That feels like mine. So then I asked ChatGPT, what would somebody who values authenticity, what are 3 beliefs that somebody who values authenticity would have? And I can't remember exactly what it said, but whatever it said, I was like, oh, no,
Hmm.
I don't think it's authenticity. Maybe and I think authenticity is important to me. That's actually one of the things that if I see somebody being very inauthentic, I guess, like it is a
Mm-hmm.
trigger to me.
Okay.
Um, and so for me, underneath that, and I guess I didn't even tell you my core values, but so I told you some, but so spaciousness is a core
Mm-hmm.
value of mine, and connection and mindfulness. And I can even venture to say that like maybe even connection is like a little bit above mindful. Like I think mindfulness as far as just like pausing and um like having this non-judgmental awareness of a situation is very much important to me. And so when somebody is being not compassionate or being judgmental, like, or being inauthentic, like I have these triggers, but whatever it was when I asked ChatGPT, and again, I don't remember. I was like, this isn't the right word though. And it's just helpful to help you find the word because then when you find it, you're like, oh, and I once heard someone say that when you're trying to figure out your core values, it's like when you're trying to choose an outfit and you just like put a sweater on and you're like, no, this one doesn't work. Like, or this works, but I might be able to find a better one, something like that. And so, um, that's a little bit what this is like. It's just, it doesn't mean that, um, whatever the word is, it doesn't mean again, like it's not important to you. It just might not be your core value. Like it might not be core to you. Like,
I have a question.
sure.
So, are there specific words we need to be finding, or are there different? Okay, or are there different words for everybody? Because it's really individual to you. So, there's not like certain,
Yeah. Yeah, there's not certain words. There's certain words that probably that do come up often that are shitty. Like
okay, like tell us some
usually,
shitty.
yeah. So if you tell me, and probably there are 10 people in the chat right now who would tell me that family is a core value for them,
Oh, okay. All right,
which is
family.
like this is controversial.
Well, go
But
lay it on us.
but if if family is a core value, that to me says that you and your family could be sitting on the couch with your phones in your hands scrolling, and that would feel just as good as if you were doing something with your family that had you connecting and like having one of those great dinners or meals or holidays with your family. So to me, I think if you think family is a core value, I always invite people to say like, but how do you want to be with your family? Like that's usually a
Mm-hmm.
really good way to get to how like thinking about the best day you had recently with your family, like the best holiday you had, the best vacation you had. Like what was that? Because whatever that was is probably the thing. Those are the people that you love the most
Mm-hmm.
and you want to do it with. But like I just think family as a core value is about as helpful as when you go into a workplace and they say like, oh, we're all family here. And I'm
Oh,
like,
right.
oh,
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
ick.
no, we're not. Yeah.
Right. And maybe what they mean is something else, but um usually that's just a red flag for me because I'm like,
Right.
wait a second. But yeah, so because if you are if family is like is above all else, then it would be okay to be on the couch just like mindlessly, all of you mindlessly scrolling, not looking at each other. And maybe somebody out there is like, no, I just want my family in this space. Well, then I feel like maybe there's some other stress responses in there too. But so yeah, I think family is when balance. I usually challenge because I'm like, but like, what do you mean by balance? Like when your life is balanced, like that might be something you really want, but why?
Or what needs to be balanced.
What needs to be balanced? But then when those things are balanced, how do you feel?
Mm-hmm.
So that's another one. Um, usually achievement. And again, I don't mean to pick on that one, but
That's
people, I
okay.
hear it a lot, and I think that that's the thing that comes up probably a lot for a lot of us from grad school of like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that's that's how
I
that's what
think
belonging felt like in grad school, and it wasn't really belonging. It was like that's how you felt safe in grad school, and that was the safety, thing.
mine might be that needing to be a high achiever is actually from nurture, not my nature.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? I think if we
Yeah.
can look at it that way, that really comes from the way I was raised. So that might not actually be my core value, even though I say it, that it is important for me to be high achieving. But is it? Right? Like
And
I
what is it that
mean by that. And I
right. Well,
think
and then
oh, sorry,
go
I
ahead.
think I
No,
got
you
it
go.
when I finally said I'm utilizing my unique gifts. That's
Mhm.
not necessarily I have to have straight A's. It's meaning that I've got, God made me a certain way with certain gifts, and I want to be using them in my work and all that I do.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what's important to me.
Right. And like even underneath that is
Okay.
like what do you I mean, when you are with other people and you're bringing the like there's a reason like you don't necessarily give everybody a birthday gift, right? Like you don't give the person you walk by on the street, but you're
Yeah.
giving your gifts to people that you care about for or that you
All
have these
right.
relationships with for a reason. And so there's got to be
Mine is more that I am working at my, I guess I'm utilizing, I don't, yeah, I'm gonna have to think more on that one. Yeah.
it's so hard.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think too, I'm trying to think if I can think of a word that is there. And I know I keep saying connection, but I do think that like when you have that thing that you are really good at, when you have your gift and then you're connecting with somebody else and like sharing your
Mm-hmm.
gift and then they also acknowledge it and then say to you like, "Hey, thank you. That was so
Yes.
helpful." Like
Yes.
that's the
That's the
feeling that you
thing.
want.
That's the thing. Yes. That's absolutely the thing.
And I think that's what I mean by connection too. Because if you're giving this gift to somebody who is just like, yeah, it's fine. I'm just gonna like,
Oh, right. Yeah.
then you
No.
don't feel seen or acknowledged. And that was the thing we talked about last time. Like when you said that that's the most stressful thing. And so I think I'm gonna pull up that how I define connection in my core values so I can tell you.
While you're doing that, I
Yep.
meant to already, you know what, I was gonna do this. I want to, because we're gonna run out of time like we always
Hmm.
do. I want to make sure that I am giving, how to get to your website. Y'all are gonna want to check out her website. So let me make sure I can do this. So while you're getting that, I'm gonna do this and get this in the chat for everybody. Y'all go to Angelyn's website. There's so much on there. And also, while you're doing that, I'm going to grab your Instagram too,
Mhm.
because I think everyone's going to want to get your handle on that.
Yes. And here, I'm going to put these in the chat. This is my core
Oh, those
values
are
of
yours.
how and
Okay.
how I define
Thank
them. That,
you.
but I think the connection one, and this is what, like, prioritizing those meaningful relationships, and then instead of constantly just like being an autopilot or doing like I guess just connection. But sometimes I think too, if you're um I think that I don't know. So I don't know if that is the one that you're the word like, but there is a word you're trying to think of. And
Yeah,
what I
I
like
might.
about the way you're trying to think of it is like you can see as you start to like look at these things or how we say them, it's like just asking yourself like why or where did that come from or what
Yeah, that jumps in my head is what is bringing me joy? It does bring me joy. Like
mhm,
that's where my joy is that because yeah, maybe when
yeah. Well,
everybody's out
and
and oh
Carolyn,
sorry. Go ahead.
maybe it's just joy. Like maybe that's what that.
Oh my gosh, I would love that. I hope that is.
I
Maybe
think it might
because
be. I
I
feel like
always
that
talk.
response means it
My
is.
response is because I joke at work that I'm delightful. I'm always like, when in doubt, call me out. I'm delightful, but because
Yes.
I do, joy has to be a core value because when I think about it is I am joyful in my work. I
Mhm.
love doing my work. I mean, it's work, but
But
at
it
least,
brings you joy. It
but it
brings other
brings,
people joy.
yeah. Oh my gosh, we've
We
found my
found it.
word. We have
Yeah,
found it. Joy, y'all. I love it. Oh, I'm so happy. I
I
love
know.
this.
Perfect timing.
It is, I know. All right, so we've gone through, y'all, when we're talking about this burnout and why we need our core values. It's not just like setting your boundaries using your core values. It's not just setting a boundary and saying no, full stop. It's deeper than that because
Yeah.
that's not sustainable just saying no because that's not going to work for you in the long run if you just constantly say no to everything. That's
Right,
not
because
a
you're going to end up saying no. In this case, now you
Mhm.
know. So if you
Yeah.
end up saying no to joy, but you're also saying no
Right.
to other things, then that doesn't feel good. That still feels misaligned.
Yeah, that would
So
feel
if you
it.
can say, even when you can say this is a stressful situation or this is triggering me or this feels misaligned, like how can you now you have this tool because you're like, how can I make this more joyful? Or if what
Yes.
feels joyful is sharing this thing with somebody, how do I find a way to do that? Because
Hmm.
that's what is meaningful and important to me.
Which now is just making me laugh because I was a kindergarten teacher before I became a speech path. I don't know why I'm telling the story, why it jumped in my head, but I used to tell the kids, "Why do we come to school?" And we're kinder, and I'd say, "Because it's fun."
Yeah.
And every once in a while I go, "Uh-oh, fun is on unfun." And it was just
Right.
a joke I did, and they were like, "Oh, we have to get back to fun," which is like, you're
But
right. I think,
also that's fun,
yeah,
right?
it was
Like
fun
you,
to talk about it. Yeah.
yes, like you made a way to make the non-fun fun
Fun.
by saying it's
Exactly.
non-fun, which is
Yes.
very meta.
Yeah, it totally. That's how come I then became a speech path. No, but
Mm-hmm.
it's joy.
Yep.
Yeah, I do. I am a very happy, joyful person. So that I think I love that.
Yep.
Okay, so I just want to make sure that we've gotten, I know we just have a few more minutes. We talked about when we were talking about like really when you're looking at your core values, you need to start stripping away, or do you feel like that should be one because of like nurture or your environment or other people, like you said, how important that is, to really get down to what is deep your in the core, pun
Yep. And
intended.
authentic, like I think we talked about at the
Hmm.
beginning, like what's authentic for you, because that's the thing that's going to keep you like not feeling overwhelmed because you're doing the thing that is what is yours to do instead of what you think other people
Because if
think
you're
you should be
doing,
doing.
that's the point of being authentic. Because if you just choose a core value because you think that that's what it should be, you're going to still not be happy or fulfilled
Right.
or not that, just dysregulated because that's not going to be regulating for you.
Yes. And the only thing I want to add to that is like
Hmm.
knowing and understanding that it is completely like normal and what we were taught to not know these things, right? And so it's not like you're choosing this one because you feel like you should, because you should then like shame yourself for that. It's just it's how it is, and it's not what we were taught to think about, and it's not what we think about all the time. So it takes time to kind of think about what is important to you and identify that. And so I just don't want anyone to be like, oh, well, I'm feeling upset or bad because I am choosing this thing that's like you meant all of those things that you said when you were trying to figure out how to get to
Yeah.
whatever it is. And so it is what it is. Like it's nothing to judge yourself about, I guess, is just I hope that people hear that part too.
Right. I mean, it's a process.
Hmm.
Because and I love it because now because it is you no matter what you're doing, when you're doing something that you haven't done before, there is that moment where it's not comfortable. And you did talk about that earlier, that it's okay to not be comfortable and have those moments. And I had to keep working through it. And
Yeah. And you might
right?
get under that now that you've
Yeah.
like done more of it, and you may be like, wait, there's something underneath that, or maybe that is it. But I mean it,
Mhm.
so I think there's just different layers, and that's, I mean, like if you think about the core of an onion, like it's you have to just peel back the layers to figure it out. And um but when
But
you do,
how
it feels so much good. And the closer you get,
good.
I mean, even if you're a little bit closer, it's better than not knowing. Because where I started was just not having any clue. Like
Hmm.
I didn't know what I valued at all. I just thought I had never thought about it because no one ever gave me that language to think about it.
Right. And I love that, right, wherever you're meeting everybody, wherever you guys are at, when you're starting to
Mhm.
just think about what your core values are, keep asking yourself, is this, why do I think this is? Like, what
Mhm.
is the deeper, bigger one, right? Lauren says, bringing this back to speech. Okay. Once you identify your core values, the idea is that you prevent burnout by holding boundaries that protect these values.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think too, just acknowledging your values or even acknowledging why things are triggering. Because again, we don't really have control of like you can protect those things with boundaries, but then also acknowledging that I think it just shifts kind of how you think about
Boundaries and
boundaries
why you're setting
too.
the boundaries. Right,
Yeah.
I think is the bigger picture is not just setting a boundary of no, but understanding why and protecting your value, your boundaries, because these are truly the value. These are
Yeah.
protecting, it's that self-care that
Hmm.
uh that's kind of really to keep you from burnout or
Yeah.
regulate yourself in.
And
Yeah.
I think the last thing too is that I always think about even if you have what you value, and I talked about this earlier, the way that it helps me, like if I'm thinking about a contentious IEP meeting or a stressful situation, is it helps me to think, well, that person is upset, most likely because of some type of values misalignment, right? So it's not necessarily that you have to change your values or they have to change their values, but they have this thing that's important to them or their way in fight or flight, and that is different too. But knowing that you can hold the boundary towards whatever your value is, but if your value is connection and there's a disconnection, it may mean taking a step back and waiting till that person is in a place to hear what you
Yeah.
have to
Mm-hmm.
say. Um, and it may just mean that if they're really feeling overwhelmed or stressed about something for their child, and that's um what their, whatever it is that their value is, like it usually means like in this moment we're at this high level of stress, and like to to me sometimes that connection is not going to happen in that moment, so it's like okay, let's just pause, but it helps me to not take it personally because it has something to do with
Mhm.
their values, not mine. And if mine is connection, I'm just gonna pause and not
Mhm.
cause further disconnection. And that's that one example. But if yours is vulnerability, maybe you say, hey, this was a moment that, maybe I shouldn't have said it that way or something, something. But whatever it is, I think you can, when you say protect these values, Lauren, I think that that is true. But then also, I don't know that it's something you have to protect more than just acknowledge and like acknowledge that we're living in a world where everybody has these values and like we just don't know what they are and none of us have.
Everybody has different values too, and
Yeah.
that's where the rub is. So we want to protect our own values, but being aware that our
Mhm.
values aren't the same as other people's values, and acknowledging that as well.
Yeah, and I think I need to think more about that because I don't know
Okay.
that. I think once you have a good handle on your values, I don't know that it's your job to protect them from the world. I think it's just your job to like live with them and know that you are like to hold them. And then I don't know that we're protecting. I mean, I think we are protecting them, but
Okay,
I don't
that's,
know.
we'll leave on that. Wondering.
Yeah.
Okay, now we've got something for you to think about.
Yeah, I'll text you or call
Yeah,
send you an email with that. But I copied and pasted that question because I need to
yeah,
think
no,
about that.
more to think about. I know we really I want to be honoring your time, and thank you so much. Just always
Yes, this
deep
was fun.
thinking. I know I love it, and I know when part one was the burnout is real, and we do acknowledge that our jobs are a lot, and what we do is so valuable, and
Hmm.
the strategies we're asking is understanding what our core values are so we do understand our boundaries. You're going to think about the word protect, right?
Yeah,
um, yeah,
I
but I just
am.
want to thank you so much for just sharing
Yes.
everything with us. You're just so open, and I just love it. And honestly, go to Angelyn's website, check her out on her Instagram as well. I just want to thank you so much again for
Yes.
joining us.
Thank you for
Love
having
it.
me.
Oh, I
This
love
was
it. Just,
fun.
I know it's always so much fun. Now, everyone that's here and listening live, I want to make sure you get credit. Be sure to go to your Speech Therapy PD account and get your credit. Make sure you do the complete course, guys. All right. I want to thank everyone for coming. Bye. And I'll see everybody on our
Bye.
next episode. Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Thank